This is one of my favorite things that I think aligning with this idea of communicating what you are doing in marketing based on the outcomes, not just based on where you're spending money. Like, what is the story you're telling the organization about what marketing is doing and where you're deploying resources? And sometimes we can do that best, not just by saying, well, here's all the digital channels and here's the PR and here's the social, but like, what is the job to be done? What are the different phases of business goals we're trying to achieve? So what if you, in whether you do this just in how you communicate your marketing strategy, but also how you organize your budget, how you organize a spreadsheet that might go to the CFO, that might go to the board, that might not have you as the narrator next to it. Could you break down where you're spending money based on phases of the buying journey, starting with market development? How are we increasing market share, understanding of the problem, understanding of our role in solving the problem? What are we doing specifically to create demand and to capture demand and to manufacture demand in that market? How are we supporting the sales team in converting higher volume of opportunities? And then what are we doing to increase lifetime value? So potentially then you start saying, okay, like in the attract side, in terms of driving market development, here's some of the things we're going to look at. Another advantage of breaking it down this way is it separates market development and awareness tactics from demand gen tactics. Like, the last thing you want to do is to get into a conversation on every tactic you have. Like, what kind of pipeline did that generate? How many leads did that generate? You have to build market awareness to more efficiently create demand moving forward. If a market doesn't understand the problem and or doesn't know who you are, that is a tax on your demand gen efforts, because cold lists to cold people that don't know who you are going to have lower response rates. And to get the numbers you want, you're going to have to do a lot more of that activity, and that's expensive. Investing in awareness up front, I know I'm preaching to the choir here, and investing in some of that effort, and there's a million ways to do it, is going to subsidize response rates moving forward. It's going to help drive more people inbound. It's going to also increase your response rates and engagement rates on your demand gen tactics. So separating those out, that's part of the story you're telling the organization, right? Like, we are going to see lower response on demand until our market awareness improves, until more people know that there's a problem, until more companies know that we can help, that we're a core component of solving that problem. So storytelling, what am I buying? I'm buying market awareness. I'm buying awareness of the problem. And then eventually you're buying, okay, now I'm buying demand, right? I'm converting these efforts into driving demand into the organization. And then moving forward, what are we doing from a marketing generated and a marketing influenced pipeline standpoint? I think it's really important in most organizations, if you're in B2B, unless you're in some kind of a transactional sale, like, Dustin mentioned the amount of pipeline that's coming from marketing, like, you have to be really careful how you communicate that story. Because if a lead came from a webinar you did 3 years ago and they weren't ready to buy, they were the right person at the right company, but they weren't ready to buy, and now maybe 2 companies later, 2 jobs later, they are ready to buy. Okay, well, now they're in a different company and they're in a different role, but marketing first engaged them 3 years ago. Is that a marketing source deal? Is that a marketing influence deal? Like, we don't have time today to get into sort of all the definitions and complexity of attribution models. We can certainly do that in a future webinar. But I think it's really important to sort of understand the complexity of the body of work it takes and think about not just marketing attribution from a credit standpoint. I don't really care about who gets credit. Like, if marketing gets credit and sales doesn't close a deal, we all lose our job because we didn't make our number, right? What's important is to know what marketing is working, not to give credit, but to predict future performance, right? So if I know certain channels are working, what's my confidence those channels are going to work again? If I know certain sequences of going from awareness to commitment to change to engagement in a pipeline, if I know a certain sequence, a certain message is working and has worked in the past, how does that predict how well I can make that work moving forward? How can I use those insights to create more confidence in the model I'm presenting to the business and have a higher level of confidence that the budget I'm asking for is going to achieve the results I want? That is attribution at work. That is your ability to take information that you have and present a story to the organization saying, I know how pipeline can be created. I know how we can hit this number based on what we've seen in the past.